Good afternoon, Paul here. Welcome you to my 1911 Strat-O-Matic replay, replaying the National League. Today is Thursday, May 4th, 1911, and on the schedule, the New York Giants are at Boston to play the Rustlers. The Giants will give the starting nod to Christy Mathewson, who in real life was 26-13 with a 1.99 ERA. Here's his Strat-O-Matic card. Going for the home Boston Rustlers is going to be Buster Brown. Buster was 8-18 with a 4.29 ERA. Join us for the starting lineups in just a minute. All right, the starting lineups look like this. For the Giants, Josh DeVore will lead it off and play right field. Larry Doyle will bat second and play second base. Fred Snodgrass will bat third and play center field. Red Murray will bat cleanup and play left field today. Fred Merkle will bat fifth and play first base. Merkle batting fifth at first. Al Bridwell will bat sixth and play shortstop. He'll later go to Boston. Art Devlin will bat seventh and play third base. Devlin batting seventh and playing third for the Giants. Batting eighth, their catcher, Chief Myers. Batting ninth and pitching, Christy Mathewson. I'll be using the homebrewed pitcher hitting card made by the Strat-O-Matic community when he comes to the plate and rolling the dice. Doing that for several of the 1911 National League pitchers. The starting lineups for the home team, the Boston Rustlers. By the way, they're nicknamed the Rustlers very briefly in their history, named for their then owner, William Russell. Josh Clark is going to lead off and play left field for the Rustlers. Clark. Fred Tenney, their player-manager, the veteran, will play first base and bat second. Buck Herzog, their very fine shortstop. Buck will bat third and play shortstop. He'll go over to the Giants later in the year in a trade which will involve Hank Gowdy and Al Bridwell going for the Giants to Boston. Scotty Ingerton will play third base and bat cleanup for the Rustlers today. Ingerton batting cleanup at third base. Batting fifth, their best hitter, right fielder Doc Miller. Doc Miller will bat fifth and play right field. Batting sixth today, their center fielder, Wilbur Good. Good playing center and batting sixth. Wilbur will go over to the Cubs later in the year. Batting seventh, actually a very good hitting second baseman, Bill Sweeney. Sweeney will bat seventh and play second today. Batting eighth, their catcher, Peaches Graham. Graham off to a good start. He'll bat eighth and catch. And batting ninth, their pitcher, Buster Brown. Buster hit a home run in his last start off Grover Cleveland Alexander in a very exciting game. 10-inning victory for the Rustlers. Brown went all 10 innings and got the victory. We will have the start of this game very shortly. Just a note in terms of the game preferences, I use play-by-play, computer play-by-play minimal level. I don't roll the dice with one exception I'll mention shortly, nor do I use the dice roll built into the Strat-O-Matic computer game. With the exception being that when the certain pitchers are at bat, mostly the starting pitchers and occasional relievers, I roll the dice and read the results from the homemade pitcher hitting cards that the Strat-O-Matic community created, 20 years ago. And so when you see Mathewson come up for the Giants and Brown come up for Boston in this game, for instance, I will roll the dice on the table surface here and hope that none of the dice fall to the floor, causing a delay. Other than that, the computer will read the results, and I'll read off the play-by-play from my computer screen. Coming into the game, the Giants in first place with a 10-5 record, the Boston Rustlers in sixth place with a record of 8 wins and 10 losses.
All right, leading off for the New York Giants, Josh DeVore. DeVore comes into the game hitting .232, 1 homer and 6 RBIs. Buster Brown getting ready to pitch here. We're at South End Grounds number 3 in Boston, and DeVore promptly leads this ball game off with a base hit. Josh, very fast of foot. He stole 61 bases in 1911, which I believe was second in the league to Bob Bescher of Cincinnati, who stole 80. Larry Doyle coming to the plate. Doyle red hot to start the season, hitting .411, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, 4 doubles, 1 triple, 13 walks, and 10 stolen bases. He would get a lot of votes for most valuable player if the vote were to be taken today. Boston not going to play their corners in. By the way, I'm managing Boston in this game, and Hal, or the computer, is managing the Giants, who obviously would come into the game, the favorite. Buster Brown, though, beat Grover Cleveland Alexander his last time out. Here is a steal attempt by DeVore, and he is a dead duck. Peaches Graham throwing out DeVore, who was trying to steal second. Doyle now at the plate with 1 out and none on. Still going to set the infield back. Stepping up to the plate, Doyle, the team captain. Comebacker right to Buster Brown, over to Tenney for the easy out. 2 out, nobody on. That'll bring up Fred Snodgrass, who is over the last 10 games hitting about .480. I looked at his numbers the last 10 games, and they are spectacular. On the season, he's hitting .345 with 1 homer, 14 RBIs. He is the Giants center fielder. Buster Brown looking down at Graham for the sign, shakes him off once or twice into his windup. Here's the pitch, a long fly ball to center fielder. Good, he's under it. He dropped it. Wilbur Good drops the deep fly ball. He should have had that one. It popped out of his glove onto the ground, and Snodgrass pulls into second on the 2-base error by the Boston center fielder Good. That'll bring up Red Murray. Red, the Giant cleanup hitter who hit .291 in real life in 1911, but is hitting only .179 thus far in the replay. Red off to a mysteriously cold start. Let's see what he can do here with Snodgrass on second and 2 out. Ground ball down to the line, into the outfield for extra bases. Murray around second, heading for third. It is a 3-bagger for the Giant left fielder. Driving in the first run of the game, Red Murray, perhaps getting ready to snap out of his slump, triples down the left field line. Ball bounced, juts out at a sharp angle. The fence does here at South End Grounds, and before Clark could go haul it in and throw it in, Murray was on third. Fred Merkle at the plate, 2 out, 1 run in for the Giants. An unearned run. Merkle swings and lifts one toward left. Clark drifting over slowly. He's under it now and makes the easy catch. So at the end of a half inning, New York 1, Boston coming to bat. Christy Mathewson going out to take the mound for New York. And Josh Clark will be the leadoff batter for the Boston Rustlers. Clark hitting .261 in 69 at-bats. Done a good job getting on base. He's drawn 17 walks. He's also hit 2 homers, which is already one more than he hit in real life. He hit 1 homer in real life in 1911. He is the younger brother of Pittsburgh Pirate player manager Fred Clark. Mathewson shaking off a couple signs. Here's the pitch. Mathewson comes up with a ground ball right back to him. He throws Clark out easily, and there's one down in the Boston first. Fred Tenney, the 38-year-old veteran, his career started back in the 1890s, I think around 1894. He actually sat out a year in 1910 and was lured back into baseball by the Boston owner William Russell. Tenney spent many years with the team he's playing against today, the Giants, so he knows Mathewson well. Fred hitting .260 thus far in 77 at-bats, no homers, 9 RBIs. He rips a whistling liner down the line that Merkle spears. 1 out, or rather 2 out, none on. Bottom of the first. Buck Herzog coming to the plate now for Boston. Buck hitting .297, no homers, 11 RBIs. When I quote the stats of the batters as they come up, I often feel it a waste of time to announce how many homers they have, because homers are quite rare. Herzog hitting a drive down the line. Red Murray dives for it, cannot make the play. Buck going to coast into second base with a double. A 2-out double by Buck Herzog gives the Rustlers the tying run in scoring position. That will bring up Scotty Ingerton. Scotty hitting .208, no homers, 4 RBIs. Let's see if he can do anything against Christy Mathewson here. Cripple pitch, a triple, just flat out triple. Scotty Ingerton comes up with a triple, and very similar to the Giants' top of the first, when Red Murray tripled in, I believe it was Snodgrass, Scotty Ingerton triples in Buck Herzog, and we have a tie ball game. And Doc Miller coming to the plate. Doc is the Rustlers' best hitter. In real life, in 1911, he hit .333. He is off to a slow start, however, in the replay, hitting only .232. A chance for the Rustlers to take the lead here as Ingerton is perched on third with 2 out. Doc Miller, a good clutch hitter. Here is a 3-2 pitch, hit to shallow center. Tough chance for Snodgrass, but he makes a nice running catch to end the inning. So at the end of an inning, we're tied at 1 apiece. We will go to the second, and Al Bridwell will lead it off for New York. Al hitting .170. He has, however, drawn 12 walks, so his on-base percentage higher than you might think given his very poor batting average. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Al checks his swing. Here's the appeal. He draws a walk. He held his swing up. Brown unhappy with the call, but Bridwell down to first with a walk to lead off the second. That'll bring up Art Devlin. Art, the Giant third baseman, off to a miserable start himself, hitting at only .106. He is a good bunter, as all the Giants are. He is an A bunter. Look for a bunt here. The Rustler's going to play the corners in. Bridwell takes off with a pitch. Here's the throw. He is a dead duck. So 2 Giants thrown out trying to steal. Bridwell caught stealing, and the Giants lose a base runner there. Devlin remains at the plate with 1 out and none on. Devlin, as I mentioned, is off to a horrible start. He's hitting 106. Here is a ground ball to short. Herzog throws. It gets away. Ball gets past Tenney, rolling around. Devlin going to scoot into second on the 2-base error by Buck Herzog. That is the second error in as many innings for Boston. Good made a costly error in the first, and Herzog has made an error here in the second. Buck, the Boston shortstop, a good range of 2, but a high E factor, 56. So, Chief Myers, the Giant catcher, steps in with Devlin on first and 1 out. Routine fly to center. Let's see if Good can catch this one. He starts in. Now he starts backpedaling faster. He just does catch up to it. Devlin scampering back to second. So Wilbur Good, making a nice play after initially misjudging that ball, makes the catch in center field, and now there are 2 out. And coming to the plate will be Christy Mathewson. And Christy hit 196 in real life. And for his at bat, we will get out the dice and roll. And if the white die is a 1, 2, or 3, we will read the result off of Christie's homemade pitcher's hitting card. And if the white die is 4, 5, or 6, we will read the result off the Strat-O-Matic official printed Strat-O-Matic card of Buster Brown. I got out the wrong die. So here we go. All right. $3-8 is the dice roll. 3 on the white, 8 on the 2 red. That is a strikeout to end the inning. We will do a manual entry to record that statistic. Strikeout. And at the end of an inning and a half, 1 all. All right. Leading off for Boston in the bottom of the second is going to be Wilbur Good. Wilbur hitting .265, 1 homer, 11 RBIs. Mathewson, the superstar right-hander, although I don't guess the word superstar was used back in 1911. The Big Six was his nickname, named for a locomotive of the day. Here is a easy ground ball to Merkel. He scoops it up and flips it to Mathewson covering first, and there's 1 out. Bill Sweeney, a very good hitter, second baseman. He had several good years for Boston with the bat. They traded him after the 1913 season, so he was not part of the Miracle Braves of 1914. He's hitting .385 in my replay. No homers, 10 RBIs. Righty against righty. Righties have a .246 average against Christy. Routine fly to left. Murray ranges over and makes the catch. 2 out, and Peaches Graham coming to bat. You got to love the nicknames of some of these 1911 players. I love the nickname Peaches. I don't know where he got the nickname from. I'll have to research that. He's hitting 292 in my replay, and he already has 13 RBIs. In real life, in 1911, he had 20 for the entire season in 159 at-bats. He has delivered quite a few big hits for the Rustlers thus far this year. Here he pops up back a short, Bridwell under it, still waiting, and he clutches it for the out, and that is 3 outs. And we'll go to the top of the third with the score knotted at 1 apiece, and Josh DeVore will lead it off for New York. The giant right fielder singled his first time up. Buster Brown out there starting the inning on the mound for Boston. 3-2 pitch, changeup. DeVore hits a fly ball to right, Miller under it, and he's got it. Now Larry Doyle coming to the plate. Larry grounded back to Brown his first time up. The default on the computer is corners in, but I'm going to set the infield back. I will let Doyle bunt with the corners back if he wants to. I don't think he's going to try to bunt for a hit, although he's very good at it. He's even better at driving balls into the gaps. He hits a ground ball to Sweeney, a daisy cutter, Bill fielding it quickly over to first for the easy out. And Fred Snodgrass coming to the plate. Fred is the guy who hit the ball to center field that Wilbur Good dropped for a 2-base error in the first. Snodgrass then coming around to score when Red Murray tripled. Buster Brown from Boone, Iowa, throws the pitch, and Snodgrass grounds to Sweeney at second. Sweeney with a nice pickup over to first for out number 3. By the way, in real life, 1911, the Giants won the pennant going away. The Boston Rustlers finished deep in the cellar with a horrible record of 44-107. They have played pretty well, though, in my replay. The record is 8 wins, 10 losses, which is not great, but it is a bit better than you might expect for a team that went 44-107 in real life. Leading off, bottom of the third, their pitcher Buster Brown. Here again, we'll roll the dice and read the results. If it's a white die of 1, 2, or 3 off the homemade card produced by the Strat-O-Matic community. And then we'll input the results in the computer manually. The dice roll a 2-7, 2-7, strikeout. So Christy strikes out his opposite number to lead off the bottom of the third. We'll enter that result manually. And 1 out. And Josh Clark coming to bat. Clark in 1911 had only 120 at-bats the entire season. I believe he breaks his leg in sliding into a base in late May and is out for the rest of the season. He would end up hitting 233 in real life in 1911 with 29 walks and 6 stolen bases. And Mathewson will pitch to him with 1 out and no one on. He gets a base hit, slapping a hard ground ball past second. Doyle couldn't flag it down, and Clark on first with a clean single. Josh, not a particularly good base stealer. He was fast. His running rating 1-14, but he stole 6 bases and was caught stealing 8 times in 1911. So he's not going to try to steal. The Giants will hold him. Fred Tenney at the plate with 1 out. Do I bunt here? Do I use a hit and run? Tenney an A bunter and B hit and run rating. Tenney is a L4R, meaning he hits righties pretty well, very well. I am going to hit away. Let's see if Fred can do something. No, he looks at strike 3. On an 0-2 count, Mathewson caught the corner. Fred didn't even offer at it, and he is out on strikes. Should have bunted or hit and run. All right, Buck Herzog now at the plate. Buck doubled in the first and scored the Rustlers run. We are 1-1 in the third. Let's see what he does with Clark on first and 2 out. Scotty Ingerton in the on-deck circle. Herzog grounds 1 to short. Bridwell juggles it over to first. Buck beats it out. Bridwell will get an error on the play. Al a 3E56. So Buck hits 1 to his opposite number at short, and Bridwell making the error. It's interesting because they both have an E rating of 56, and they would be traded for each other later in the season. So Clark down to second and Herzog to first, and that will bring up Scotty Ingerton, who tripled in the first, driving in Herzog with the Boston run. Scotty, with his first triple of the year, looks in. Mathewson won't give him any good to hit, you wouldn't think. Here's the pitch. Devlin grabs it over to first in time. That'll do it for Boston in the third. So this time Mathewson gets Ingerton with runners on first and second and 2 out. And that will bring it in to the bottom of the third. So at the end of 3, we're all tied 1-1. Red Murray leading off the fourth for New York. Red tripled in. Fred Snodgrass for the Giants run. In the first. We are now in the fourth. The pitch to Murray in the dirt. That's ball 4. That's not the best way to start an inning. Murray, as you might expect, has tremendous base stealing capabilities. He stole 48 bases and was caught only 22 times. Wouldn't be at all surprised if he's running here. He has an 80% chance of getting a good lead. Fred Merkle stepping in to face Buster Brown. Fred flied out to left in the first. Murray does not get a good lead, so he's still a 60% chance of being safe. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes, even if he didn't get the good lead. Merkle. Now Brown asking for a new ball. Yank Brown deals the 2-strike pitch. Big heater in on the hands. Swung on and popped up. Ingerton is waiting, and that's an easy out. First out of the fourth, that'll bring up Al Bridwell. Bridwell walked his first time up. Let's see if Murray is running here with 1 out. Or we might see a hit and run. Runner off with the pitch. It is a hit and run. Curve painting the inside corner. Swung on. Bounced right to second. Fielded the throw to second. they get the force for the out. So even though the runner was off with the pitch, the ground ball hit sharply towards second. Sweeney able to make the play and flip it to Herzog to get the force out, and that will bring up bring up Art Devlin. Bridwell safe at first on the fielder's choice. Devlin at the plate. Bridwell with the 70% chance of getting the lead. He was caught stealing in the second. Let's see if he's running this time. The delivery swung on and missed. Devlin is down on strikes. Boy, Art Devlin has been just unable to do anything with the bat thus far this year. And that'll do it for the Giants in the fourth. At the end of 3.5, 1-1. Doc Miller going to lead off the bottom of the fourth for Boston. Christy Mathewson out to the mound. Doc flying out to center his first time up. The Rustlers bring up Miller, Good, and Sweeney in this inning. Ground ball for changeup past Merkel at first. It's rolling into the outfield grass. Miller gets a base hit to lead off the fourth. And Wilbur Good will step in. Wilbur grounded out to first his first time up. The Giants are going to bring the corners in, anticipating a bunt. Miller being held at first, 50% safe chance. Good, a C hit and run man. Let's see what the hit and run odds are. Chance for hit, 25%. Chance for batter misses pitch, 22%. Not going to use the hit and run. I am going to try to sacrifice chance for successful bunt, 81%. Good squares around. He bunts at it. A quick glance at the lead runner, fielded by Merkel. The throw to first. He is out. Merkel picking up the bunt and flipping it to Doyle, who was covering first. And the sacrifice is successful. Doc Miller moving down to second. He's there with one out and Bill Sweeney at the plate. Sweeney, an excellent hitter, has a chance to drive in a run here with Miller down at second and one out. Rustlers could take the lead. Sweeney hitting 379. In real life, he hit 314. Here is a ground ball to Doyle. He feels it cleanly, but throws the ball away. Another error. We've already had 4 in the game. And Miller scores from second. Sweeney advances to second. And Boston's ahead 2-1. Larry Doyle, a 3.39, made the play. It was a tough play, and they're going to give Sweeney a single on it. Very charitable ruling from the official scorer. But then he advances to second on the wild throw by Doyle, so charge a single and an error on the play. And Sweeney to second. One out, Peaches Graham at the plate. Sweeney not a serious threat to steal third. Peaches 0 for 1 today. Christy, here's a ball juiced to deep center. There goes Snodgrass racing hard. He dives, just misses it. A 2-bagger for Peaches Graham. And the Boston Rustlers are touching up Christy Mathewson pretty good here. They've taken a 3-1 lead. On the double by Graham, Sweeney scoring from second. Boston has 6 hits already off Mathewson here in the fourth. They have Graham now on second with 1 out and Buster Brown at the plate. So it's time to roll the dice. Buster homered in his last game at Philadelphia. He hit it off Grover Cleveland Alexander off the 1-4 roll on the pitcher's hitting card. Let's see what he can do here. Here is a 2-3 roll. A strikeout. 2-3 is strikeout on Brown's card. So Brown unable to move Graham to third. And there are now 2 out. Have to go to manual entry to record this. All right, we've got the strikeout recorded in the stats. And Josh Clark going to come up with 2 out and Graham on second. Josh up already for the 3rd time today. He is grounded out and singled. Christy Mathewson has been touched up for 6 hits. The Giants have made 2 costly errors. So here is a swing and a miss for strike 3. Clark out on strikes. But the Rustlers come up with 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th, and they have taken a 3-1 lead as we go to the 5th. Buster Brown out to the mound. He'll face Myers, Mathewson, DeVore, and probably some more hitters. Buster has given up only 2 hits. Myers leading off the 5th. The Chief flat out his first time up. Fastball line to center, a leadoff hit for Myers. Good over, fires it in. Myers on first with Mathewson coming to the plate. The Chief not really a steal threat at all. He did steal 7 bases, so I shouldn't say he's not a steal threat at all. Nevertheless, I am not going to hold him on. A 6 gives him a lead, but no other role gives him a lead. Mathewson will come up. I expect he's going to try to bunt. So rather than roll the dice, we'll see what Hal wants to do. Don't want to roll the dice when a sacrifice is likely. Matthews unable to get a lead. Mathewson squares as Brown delivers the pitch. Buster charges the bunt, picks it up, throws to first for the out. The sacrifice successful. Myers down to second. Josh DeVore coming to the plate. Josh has singled and flied out. His team trails 3-1. The pitch to DeVore with 1 out and a man on second. There's the heater. Strike 3 swinging. Buster Brown striking out DeVore. 2 out now. Myers still on second. Larry Doyle coming to the plate. Doyle try to make amends for the costly error he committed in the 4th. He threw a ball away that would have been the 3rd out. Instead, Boston ended up scoring 2 runs. So Larry, wanting to redeem himself, draws a walk. Brown perhaps not really wanting to pitch to Doyle, walks him, and the Giants have runners on first and second now with 2 out, and Fred Snodgrass coming to the plate. Fred, a .280 hitter in the clutch. In real life overall, he hit .294. And in my replay, he's hitting .333. So he has exceeded expectations thus far in my replay. Buster Brown played his college ball at Iowa State. Here is Snodgrass swinging and sending a fly ball to right field. No trouble. Doc Miller pulling it in. for out number 3. The Giants go down without scoring, leaving Myers on second. And at the end of 4.5, 3-1 Boston. Fred Tenney will lead off the bottom of the 5th for the Rustlers. Mathewson has struck him out and gotten him to line out. The Boston player manager draws a walk. Mathewson walked only 38 batters in all of 1911, an amazingly low number of walks. He pitched 307 innings, but he just walked Fred Tenney, his former teammate. Perhaps Fred knows a thing or two about Mathewson's pitching style and his routine and waited him out for a walk. A savvy take by the veteran. Buck Herzog at the plate. Tenney going to be held on first. I don't know why I wouldn't do it, but that's what Hal's doing. Buck going to swing away. The Rustlers playing much better than a team you would expect. Here is a ground ball to short taken by Bridwell. The out at second to retire one batter. The throw to first not in time. Herzog safe on the fielder's choice. Bridwell throwing to Doyle for the force on Tenney, but Doyle's throw to Merkel not in time. Herzog beating it out, and here is Ingerton with one out and Herzog on first. Let's see what the bunt chance. 86% chance for successful bunt. Scotty gonna try to lay a bunt down. He bunts the ball. They throw trying to get the lead runner, fielded by Mathewson. Here's the throw. He is safe. A sacrifice is recorded, and a fielder's choice. Herzog beating the throw from Mathewson, and all hands safe. Boston now with runners at first and second and one out, and their best hitter Doc Miller coming to the plate. They already lead this one 3-1. Miller singled his last time up. In real life, he drove in 91 runs in 1911. Here is the delivery. Base hit to right for Miller. Herzog with a 1-14 chance of being safe, a 70% chance. I'm going to send him. I'm going to hold the trailing runners. Myers trying to block the plate. His ability to block is great, and Herzog is out. The throw beat Buck to the plate. He crashed into Myers, but the Chief, an excellent backstop, held onto the ball, and Herzog is out. Ingerton holding on second. So a great throw by Josh DeVore nails Herzog at the plate, with what would have been the 4th run. So 2 out, 2 on, Wilbur Good at the plate. The score still 3-1 Boston. Here's a ground ball to Doyle. His throw to first got him. This time Larry makes a good throw for out number 3. So no runs for Boston in the bottom of the 5th. And the Giants breathing a sigh of relief that they have not fallen further behind. And we'll go to the 6th, and the score 3-1, Red Murray leading it off. The New York cleanup hitter has tripled and walked thus far. He has driven in the only Giant run, that being back in the 1st when he tripled Snodgrass in after Snodgrass reached second on the fielding muff by Wilbur Good. Slow ground ball, Tenney charging it. He drops it. That's an error. we have had 5 errors in the game thus far. Fred Tenney, the Boston first baseman and player manager, boots an easy grounder. He is on first, or Murray is on first. He'll be held, and Fred Merkle to the plate. By the way, South End Grounds is a good home run hitting park, and the home run rating for South End Grounds for a right-hand batter is 1-19. In other words, on certain rolls where there's a diamond on the hitter's card, if you're a right-handed batter, you have a 95% chance of homering at South End Grounds. For lefties, 1-17, that means an 85% chance. So Merkle perhaps thinking homer. He's hit 2 out thus far in the replay. In real life, he hit 12, which was a pretty high number for 1911. Murray back to the bag safely. He does not get a good lead. Merkle swings. It's a blooper into shallow left field. Herzog running with his back to the infield. He reaches up. What a grab! Robbing Merkle of a single. And that is the first out here in the 6th. It'll bring up Al Bridwell. Murray on first, 1 out. Giants trailing 3-1. Let's see what Bridwell does here. Buster Brown brushes off the side. Now Yank shakes off another one. Buster is from Boone, Iowa. Here is a hit and run, a ground ball into center field. Bridwell comes through nicely for New York. Murray scampers over to third, and the hit and run play works to perfection. Murray to third, Bridwell to first, 1 out, top of the 6th. Bridwell, a definite steal threat himself. Here as you see the New York running game succeeding. It hadn't earlier in the game. 2 Giants were caught stealing early in the game. Now Art Devlin to the plate, and Art is desperately looking for a hit. He is 0 for 2 today and has seen his average drop to 102 on the season. Boston is going to play the corners in, anticipating a possible squeeze play. Devlin, a good bunter. He is rated an A, and let's see if he still tries to bunt with the corners in. Here's a ground ball back to the mound. Ground grabs it. The throw to second for 1. Back to first. Double play. A twin killing wipes out the Giant threat in the 6th. And we have played through 5.5. Boston still ahead 3-1. Boy, Art Devlin has once again hurt the Giants with his inability to do anything with the bat. That time grounding into a 1-6-3 double play. Bottom of the 6th, Bill Sweeney leading it off for Boston. Bill is flat out, and he's the one who hit the tough chance that Doyle threw away in the 4th in the inning where the Rustlers took the lead. Here he is hitting a fly ball to center field, a towering fly ball, and Snodgrass making the play. Peaches Graham. It'll be interesting to see if in the top of the 7th the Giants pinch hit for Christy Mathewson. The Giants do have a good bench. The pitch on the way to Graham. He rips one on the ground. It's a daisy cutter to Devlin. Art fields it cleanly. Over to first quickly. Easy out. So 2 outs in the 6th. That'll bring up Buster Brown. And we will roll the dice and await the result. 3-4 strikeout. So Buster has been up 3 times and struck out 3 times. We'll do the manual entry. To record the strikeout. Go back to pre-swing play-by-play. As we go to the top of the 7th. Buster Brown heading out to the mound after striking out. No doubt his focus is on pitching, not hitting. He's out there and will face Myers, either Mathewson or a pinch hitter, and then the top of the order for the Giants in the 7th. Here is Myers. Buster brushing off the sign. Buster's given name is Charles. Here is a bouncer hit past the mound and past Herzog into the outfield. A base hit for Myers to lead off the 7th. So that will bring up Christy Mathewson. Let's see, however, if Hal, the computer manager, meant to imitate John McGraw, or maybe not imitate him, but to sort of approximate him. Lets Mathewson hit, or calls for a bunt, or calls on a pinch hitter. Corners in for Boston. Oh, Myers going to try to steal. Myers, unexpectedly. He has a 75% chance of being safe. Here's the throw. And the throw sails into the outfield. Peaches Graham throwing the ball wildly. And Myers advancing to third. He's now on third with nobody out. And Mathewson still at the plate. Mathewson probably will not be lifted for a pinch hitter here. I'm going to play the corners in and see what Hal decides to do. I'm not going to roll the dice in this situation. It's still possible that Hal could use a pinch hitter. Nope, Mathewson going to swing away, I guess. Here's the pitch, a grounder to second. Sweeney moves a step to his right, and it went right through his legs. A regular croquet shot by Mathewson. Myers scores from third. It is an error on Sweeney, and that is 5 errors by Boston today. It's amazing they still have the lead, but they're still on top 3-2. That lead is going to be in jeopardy, though, I would imagine. Josh DeVore will come up. We are in the 7th. 3-2 Boston. I am not going to bring the corners in for DeVore. He's a C bunter. Mathewson is a 95% steal. Surely not, but okay. All right. Let's see if he likes to get a lead. He takes a shorter lead. Brown threw a fake to throw to first. So Mathewson being held on. DeVore at the plate, nobody out. Brown brings it home. Another error. Oh, this is getting ridiculous. Scotty Ingerton lets one go through his legs. And that is the 6th Rustler error of the day. We are only in the 7th, and Boston has committed 6 errors. Welcome to 1911 baseball. So the Giants have first and second and nobody out. And Larry Doyle coming to the plate. Yeah. Boston, very poor fielding team. Larry Doyle looking to capitalize on the mistakes. Will face Brown with first and second and nobody out. Doyle looking to drive one into the gap, maybe for a double, maybe even a triple. He hits one to center, a fly ball. It's caught by Good. Mathewson will hold. So that is a big first out of the inning for Buster Brown. It'll bring up Fred Snodgrass. Snodgrass, 0 for 3 officially. He has seen his average drop to 328, but don't be surprised to hear if he racks one into the left center field gap or hits one over the head of Clark or Good or gets a single and drives in Mathewson with a tying run. The 3-2 pitch, low and inside for ball 4. Snodgrass gets a free ticket to first, and that loads him up for Red Murray. This is the key moment in the game, obviously, with the Giants threatening. They're down a run, but they have loaded the bases with one out, and their cleanup hitter, Red Murray, coming to the plate. I don't really like this, but it's the least bad option. I am going to set the infield back because I'm afraid if I brought it in, Murray would find a hole somewhere in the infield and a single would plate 2 runs, whereas if I play it back, there's less of a chance of that happening. Infield back, bases loaded, 1 out. Red Murray at the plate. Could the Rustlers turn another double play? They did in the last inning. Murray a faster runner than Devlin. Pop fly short left. Clark got a long run. Nice running catch. Not deep enough for Mathewson to score from third. That is a huge second out. Brown has a chance to get out of the inning, believe it or not, with only 1 run scoring. But he'll have to get Fred Merkle. Fred, a dangerous hitter. He is 0 for 3 today. Brown would love to get him to bite on a bad ball. Fred struck out 60 times, which is actually a pretty good many for a batter back in that day and age. Fred hitting 203. Here is a ground ball to short. Herzog grabs it, throw to first, not in time. Merkle beats it out, and the infield hit scores the run from third, and Mathewson scores it, and we are now all tied up 3-all. A ground ball to Herzog, not a difficult play, but it was slowly hit, and he winged it to first and too late to get the speedy Fred Merkle. Merkle, a 1-16 runner, beat that one out, and Al Bridwell now to the plate. Al, if he gets a walk or a hit or reaches on an error, would put the Giants ahead. There have been 8 errors committed in this game. 6 by Boston, 2 by New York. Bridwell facing Brown with the bases loaded. Here is a base hit to right field. DeVore scores. Snodgrass going to try to score. 1-18, 90% chance. I'll throw for him. Oh, I'll cut the ball off and throw for the trail runner. Probably all runners will be safe. Yep, all runners safe, and it's 5-3, New York. A 4-run outburst keyed by the infield hit by Merkle, followed by the bases loaded single with 2 out by Bridwell. And the Giants have taken the lead 5-3. Second and third, 2 out, Devlin at the plate. And if Brown can't get Devlin, He'll have to deal with Chief Myers. Devlin 0 for 3 today with a strikeout and a ground into double play. Hitting exactly 100 now in the season. Brown kicks and fires. Devlin pops it straight up. Art got fooled on this pitch, and it'll be Herzog play. The inning finally over, but the Giants score 4 big runs and take a 5-3 lead. Josh Clark will lead it off for the Rustlers in the bottom of the 7th. Mathewson given a new lease on life. Christy on the mound, now leading 5-3. He will face Clark, Tenney, and Herzog. Mathewson happy with the sign. Here's a smash over short. Bridwell leaps just over his outstretched glove. A leadoff single for Josh Clark. The Rustlers not going to go quietly. They are going to throw everything they have at Mathewson, starting with the leadoff single here in the 7th by Clark, and that will bring up Fred Tenney. Fred going to hit away. The left-handed batter drew a walk off Mathewson his last time up. Oh, he tripled. Oh, boy, Fred tripled. The Rustlers get a run back, and it's 5-4, and Tenney on third, the tying run with nobody out. So don't ever say the Rustlers are going to roll over and play dead. They gave up 4 in the top of the inning and could easily have just sort of given up. But no, they are back quickly within striking distance of tying this game up. Tenney on third, nobody out. He just tripled in Clark, who had singled. Christy Mathewson, not exactly a Hall of Fame performance today. Herzog at the plate, man on third, nobody out. The pitch is low. It bounces away from Myers. He's got it, but there's no throw. Tenney scores from third. They're going to score that a pass ball on Chief Myers. The pitch was pretty good. Myers should have caught it, but he let it get by him. Back to the backstop, and Tenney able to score easily from third with the tying run. Herzog still at the plate. It's a 5-5 game. Bottom of the 7th. A really good one here today at South End Grounds. High fly, center field. Snodgrass races to his right, reaches up and takes it for the easy out for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Scotty Ingerton. This has been a classic 1911 style, dead ball style game with lots of errors, lots of triples, lots of poor fielding, very few no homers. What is a bit surprising about this particular game is how poorly Christy Mathewson has pitched. He's given up 9 hits, and we are in the 7th inning only. He's also given up a walk, which is rare. Scotty Ingerton has one of the 9 hits off of him, a triple in the first inning. Ingerton, the cleanup hitter for Boston, facing Christy Mathewson. A sharp breaking ball. Scotty chases it. Strike 3. Not even close. That's all for Ingerton. That'll bring up Doc Miller. The Rustlers' 5th place hitter is 2 for 3 with a run scored. 2 out, nobody on, 7th inning. Mathewson gives the rosin bag a good squeeze. Now he toes the rubber. He's ready to go. Here comes the 3-1 cripple pitch. Ground ball to first. Merkel fields it cleanly and flips it to Mathewson covering for out number 3. So, at the end of 7, we are tied up at 5. Boston getting 2 runs to tie it in the 7th after New York had scored 4 in the top of the frame to take a 5-5 lead. Chief Myers leading off for the Giants in the 8th. The Chief is 2 for 3. Buster Brown has given up 7 hits. His defense has committed 6 errors. There is a leadoff single for the Chief. He is 3 for 4. And he stole a base in the 7th inning, even though I was holding him, and even though his running rating is only 1-8. The Chief did steal 7 bases in 1911, so I'm holding him once again. Mathewson coming to the plate. Corners in. We'll just let the computer read the result. I expect Hal will call for the sacrifice, but heck, he may first call for the steal as he did in the 7th. Pinch runner for Myers. John McGraw going to send Beals Becker out to pinch run for Chief Myers. Now that's a twist. Your catcher who has 3 hits and who actually stole second in the 7th inning is just been lifted for a pinch runner. Becker down there at first. Becker stole 19 bases in real life in 1911, but he was caught 17 times. So let's see what McGraw does here with Mathewson at the plate, nobody out, the go-ahead run on first, and the corners in. Bunted. Brown has it. His play is to first base and first base only. A successful sacrifice for Mathewson. Becker now in scoring position. And Josh DeVore coming to the plate for New York. 5-5, top of the 8th. 1 out, runner on second for New York. The visiting Giants looking to take a lead if DeVore can get a single, or if the on-deck batter Doyle could get a single, or both, or an error committed. Here is a line drive to second. Sweeney grabs it, runs to second, beats Becker back. A double play. Becker, the pinch runner, caught napping, could not get back to second in time. Sweeney catching the line shot off the bat of DeVore and running over and beating Becker to the bag, and there are 3 outs, and the Giants have failed to score, and we are still tied 5-5. So after all of the Boston miscues defensively, we see a fine play there by Bill Sweeney, nabbing the line drive and turning it into a double play. Mathewson out to the mound. Wilbur Good leading off the bottom of the 8th. He'll bat first for Boston. He's 0 for 2 today with a sacrifice. Ground ball to short. Bridwell ranges into the hole. He backhands it, plants his right foot, fires it to first. Safe! Wilbur Good beating out the infield hit. He is the go-ahead run in the bottom of the 8th. And Bill Sweeney coming to the plate. Wilbur, he was successful on only 13 of 27 steal attempts in 1911. So I am not going to have him attempt to steal. He is going to be held. The Giants are going to bring the corners in. Bill Sweeney is clearly the best hitter the Rustlers have coming to the plate this inning. unless you get all the way back around to Doc Miller. So Sweeney will hit away. Good representing the go-ahead run. Sweeney looking for a base hit or even extra bases. He's hitting 382 thus far in the replay. He hit 314 in real life. Here is a line drive, but right to third baseman Devlin, who juggles the ball a bit but makes the catch, and that is the first out of the inning. So, one out. Peaches Graham to the plate. Graham has doubled in 3 at-bats. I could have him sacrifice. Peaches is a B-rated bunter and have Buster Brown try to drive him home. Buster's not a bad hitter. Remember, he hit a huge home run off Grover Cleveland Alexander at Baker Bowl in Philadelphia his last time out, a game that Brown and the Rustlers eventually won in extra innings. Yeah. Good stealing. I'm going to take a chance and see if Good can get a lead and steal second. He very well may get a lead, but be thrown out. He was caught 14 times. He's off to the races. Here's the play. He's a dead duck. So Wilbur Good easily thrown out trying to steal. And now there's 2 out and nobody on. Peaches Graham still at the plate. This is a tight game. Couldn't be any tighter. It's 5-5 in the bottom of the 8th. Swung on in the air to the left side, backing just a bit is Murray, and he pulls it in, and that'll do it for the Rustlers in the 8th. No runs, a hit, no errors, none left on. We go to the 9th, all tied up 5-5. And leading off for the Giants will be Larry Doyle. Doyle is 0 for 3 with a walk. He had seen his average drop to 390. And you've got to figure he is overdue. And if he should reach, he'll be probably trying to steal. So very important to the Rustlers and Buster Brown that they get Doyle leading off the 9th. Snodgrass on deck, Murray in the hole. Shallow fly ball, Miller charging. He dives. He can't get it. Doyle stops it first. So a shallow fly ball into right field. Miller ran in as hard as he could, but could not catch up to it. The ball dropped, and Doyle is on with a leadoff single. Not what you wanted if you're a Rustler fan. Doyle stole 38 bases, was caught 25 times. He obviously will be held, and Fred Snodgrass will come to the plate. All of the Giant base runners are good base stealers. All of their batters good bunters and hit and run man. This is small ball to the extreme, and the Giants were masters of it. Let's see what Snodgrass does. There goes Doyle. 70% chance of being safe. He's a dead duck. He is out trying to steal. He'll put up a fight, but the call stands. A huge out. 1 out, none on. Snodgrass at the plate. So instead of having a runner on second and none out, the go-ahead run, the Giants have none on and 1 out. Game's 5-5. Snodgrass hitting 328. He draws a walk, and he is on base with one out. And let's see if he tries to steal. Snodgrass with amazing steal stats in 1911. He stole 51 bases, but was caught 49 times. So he tried to steal 100 times in 1911 and was basically 50-50. And it's almost certainly he'll be trying to get a lead and steal second right here. Red Murray at the plate. Snodgrass, of course, is being held. He's off to the races. He is also the 70% chance of being safe. Here's the play. He is safe. Snodgrass, not deterred at all by his teammate Doyle being thrown out a moment ago, promptly steals second, and he is the go-ahead run for the Giants. And Red Murray at the plate. Murray, a .291 hitter in real life, drove in 78 runs. In my replay thus far, he is hitting only 186 with 9 RBIs. He did triple in a run in the first. Way back in the first, Snodgrass had reached on the error, and Murray tripled him in. What's the call here? A walk. Brown has walked Red Murray, and Brown is now tired. Brown has gone 8 in the third innings. He has given up 9 hits. He has given up quite a few walks, and he has just reached his point of fatigue where certain dice rolls on his card that are outs would be converted into singles simply because he is fatigued. So I am going to have to make a decision, and the Boston bullpen is quite weak, although they do have, well, they have several relievers, many of whom are very bad. Hub Purdue and Cliff Curtis, really the only two who are any good at all, and that not very. Purdue, not really a desirable option. Gives up 11.8 hits per 9 innings pitched. Curtis, 9.1 hits per 9 innings pitched. So if I'm going to make a move here, I will probably go to Curtis. Brown, well, all right, I am going to bring in Cliff Curtis to relieve Brown. Cliff Curtis is a right-handed pitcher. He is 0 for 3 with a 9.19 ERA in my replay. So you're probably wondering, why in the world would I do this? Well, the law of averages and my trust in Strat-O-Matic's numbers convinced me that Curtis is much better than his stats thus far in the replay indicate. And his card, there's the basic side of his card, which shows his real life stats. And there is the advanced side of his card, which obviously we'll be using. He is on to face Fred Merkle with 2 on and 1 out, and the score tied here in the 9th. Fred Merkle, 1 for 4 with an RBI. The Giant first baseman has hit 2 homers, and remember that South End Grounds is a very home run friendly ballpark for 1911. Certain roles on the cards, which have a diamond next to them, can be home runs. The odds of it being a home run depend on the ballpark rating. Well, the ballpark rating for South End Grounds is very high for home runs. Curtis going to try to get Merkle out, maybe induce a double play. Topped in front of home. Graham grabs it over to first in time. Graham could have had a force at third, but chose to go to first. He does get Merkel for out number 2, but Snodgrass advances to third and Murray to second with 2 out. So go ahead run on third, 2 out, Bridwell to the plate. Al is 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. He is a not particularly good clutch hitter. There is a base open. He is an L4L, meaning although he's a left-handed batter, he hits lefties much better than righties. Curtis is a righty. The on-deck batter, Devlin, has been horrible this year. The temptation is to walk Bridwell to face Devlin. I'm not going to do it, though, because I still like the chances of Curtis getting Bridwell, especially in a clutch situation. Several singles on Bridwell's card against righties convert to outs in clutch situations. So, here's possibly the game right here. Curtis getting the sign from Graham. A check on the runners. Off-speed pitch on the way. Bridwell watches it go by for the third strike. What a great clutch pitch by Cliff Curtis. The Rustlers have retired the Giants without them scoring, and we go to the bottom of the ninth, still tied 5-5. And Christy Mathewson out to pitch the bottom of the ninth. Cliff Curtis is scheduled to lead off for Boston, and he will hit for himself because, first of all, the Rustlers do not have any particularly good pinch hitters, I don't believe. They don't. Patsy Flaherty, not too bad. Flaherty. But perhaps more importantly, if the Rustlers are unable to score this inning and we go to extra innings, I'd much rather have Curtis on the mound than any other remaining Boston pitcher. So, let's see here. Curtis, as a hitter, actually quite good. There's his hitting card. He is better than any regular player that Boston has on the bench in this situation. He hit .267 in real life, and he's got a good card. So we're going to roll the dice and see what Curtis can do. And here is the roll. 5, 4. 5 white die, 4 red die. That is on Matthews' card, ground ball, third base, X. So here we have a ground ball that will test Devlin's fielding ability. He is a 3E29. What we're going to have to do here is go to options, dice mode. We're going to force a 5-4 roll, make sure the dice are rolled manually. And we will go to game preferences, dice mode. And see what happens. Wait, let me make sure I've got this right. Yeah, dice roll manually. We're going to force a 5 roll on the white die and a 4 on the red die. Smash to third. Art Devlin boots the ball. He cannot come up cleanly with the ground ball off the bat of Cliff Curtis. And Boston has the winning run on first with nobody out in the bottom of the ninth. And the leadoff batter, Josh Clark, coming up. Clark has singled twice in 4 at-bats against Christy. Will he bunt? Will Boston perhaps use a pinch runner? They've got some speed on the bench. Curtis himself, not a particularly good runner. And of course, you worry what happens if Boston doesn't score and they have to replace Curtis with a new and bad relief pitcher in the extra innings. Patsy Flaherty, not a good pinch runner. Spratt, Bear, Raritan, terrible. Butler, okay at 1-13. Pfeffer, not good. Collins, Collins 1-16. Yeah, this is the Rustlers shot. It's probably, even if Curtis is still in the game, New York would be favored going into extra innings. So with that in mind, I'm going to insert Bill Collins as a pinch runner and hope he can score the winning run. Collins, a 1-16 runner, meaning that he can make it safely for an extra base in certain situations with a 80% chance of being safe. I'm going to try to find his card here so I can put it in the order underneath. Remove Curtis. So Cliff Curtis pitches briefly but does a great job retiring the Giants in the 9th, striking out Bridwell with men on second and third and 2 out, and keeping the score tied. And Collins stole 4 bases. Boy, if he could steal second, it would be huge. Let's see what his chances are. 31% chance of getting a lead. I'm not going to have him try to steal, at least not yet. I want to see what Clark can do. Clark, a D bunter, D hit and run man. Josh has a very good eye, though. He won't be bunting. Let's see if he can rip a base hit. Collins taking his lead. Mathewson brushing off the sign. Mathewson's best equipment, a screwball. Here it goes. Clark goes on a fishing trip. Strike 3 swinging. That ball sailed up out of the strike zone, but Clark couldn't hold back. And Christy Mathewson, in a huge situation, has struck out the Rustlers' leadoff man. That'll bring up Fred Tenney. Now, do you walk? No, you don't. You want Fred Tenney to sacrifice. He's an A bunter. You want Collins to try to steal second. He stole 4 bases in real life out of 5 attempts and has a 31% chance of getting a good lead. And if he does get a good lead, he has a 90% chance of being safe. Yeah, we're going to attempt the steal. He inches away from the base. He was running with a pitch. Here's the throw. Caught like a thief in the night. Bill Collins, the pinch runner, is caught stealing. And this crowd is bitterly disappointed and angry at their manager for calling for a steal in that situation. So, Mathewson and Hank Gowdy now behind the plate for New York. I didn't even notice that. I'd forgotten that Chief Myers was lifted for a pinch runner and had to be replaced behind the plate. And Hank Gowdy, who will soon be a Rustler, is behind the plate. He's the one that threw Collins out there. All right, Tenney at the plate, 2 out, nobody on. Infield at regular depth. Mathewson still on the mound for the Giants. He's pitched deep into this game. He has given up 10 hits, but here he gives up a fly ball. Routine right field. DeVore's 1. He grabs it for the out. The Rustlers fail to score in the 9th, and we are going to extra innings. And a new pitcher will have to come in for Boston. There's really only, well, there's two possible options. Patsy Flaherty, but Patsy's due to start in 2 days. Oh, and he has a very bad card. The only option for Boston, and it is not a great one, is the Gallatin Squash. Yeah, Herb Purdue from Gallatin, Tennessee, is going to come in and pitch. He pitched well against the Phillies in Philadelphia, and he is a squatty fella, standing about 5'10", 5'9" maybe, weighing about 200 pounds. He has an ERA of 7.13 coming into the game. Yes, he is the least bad of many bad options for the Rustlers coming out of the bullpen. Hub Purdue. He will face Devlin to lead off the 10th. And Devlin will be followed by Hank Gowdy in the Giant order. Gowdy batting in the 8th spot now, he having come into the game after Myers was lifted for a pinch runner in the 9th. But first, Art Devlin. Purdue facing Devlin to start things off for New York. The score knotted at 5 in the top of the 10th. Purdue long fly to left. Clark has a long run. He's there and hauls it in for out number 1. Devlin retired on a fairly deep fly. That will bring up Hank Gowdy, who is 0 for 2 on the young season. He is a rookie who has had 2 at-bats, and this situation finds him facing Hub Purdue with 1 out in the top of the 10th. Gowdy in real life would be traded to Boston later in the year along with Al Bridwell for Buck Herzog. In real life, 287. A swing and a miss for strike 3. Purdue striking out Hank Gowdy. So far so good for Purdue. He will now face his opposite number, Christy Mathewson. The Big Six as a hitter has struck out, sacrificed, reached first on an error, and sacrificed again. In real life, Christy hit 196. And we will roll the dice and see what happens. The roll is a 6-4, a white die of 6, the red die add up to 4. We will look to Purdue's card, Catch X, catcher's card X. Peaches Graham's defensive skills will be tested here. He is a range of 3 and an error factor of 10. Pretty good, actually. I'll have to reset the game preferences to dice mode and make sure we've got it on dice rolled manually. And I will force a 6-4 dice roll. Let's see what happens. 6-4. Popped up into foul territory. Graham making a nice play on it. So Graham's defensive skills show there. The 3E10 makes a nice catch on the foul pop by Mathewson for out number 3 in the 10th. We'll go to the bottom of the 10th. The score still tied, 5-all. And a tremendous game here at South End grounds today. Go back to pre-swing play-by-play. Mathewson will be going out there for his 10th inning of work. He has given up 10 hits. I don't know how many walks. I'm thinking 1. The Giants have committed 3 errors behind him. Buck Herzog, his future teammate, will lead off the bottom of the 10th. He'll be followed by Scotty Ingerton and Doc Miller. Buck scuffing up the lines around the box. He steps out as Mathewson takes too long. Here he is back in the box. The wind-up, the pitch, ground ball to short. Bridwell makes the play. The throw to first. He is out. Sorry, I had Tenney up there. Herzog was actually the batter, whose card I should have had facing the camera. And the ground out is the result. So now on to Scotty Ingerton. Ingerton 1 for 3 with a triple. Scotty is a B bunter. The Giants playing the infield back. Gonna try to bunt for a hit. Ingerton a B bunter. Devlin back at third. Merkel back at first. There's a bunt between the mound and first. Mathewson and Merkel are after it. Mathewson grabs it over to first just in time to nip Ingerton, and that is the second out here in the bottom of the 10th. Doc Miller will come to the plate. He will swing away. Doc hit 7 homers in 577 at-bats. Mathewson gave up 5 homers, only 5 home runs all season long. He's given up none in the replay. So if you're thinking home run, the odds are extremely poor. Miller did hit 36 doubles in real life, so a double is a much greater possibility. 3 triples. Here's the pitch. Fastball line to right for a base hit. Doc Miller gets a 2-out hit for Boston. He is a good base stealer. He stole 32 bases in 1911, was caught 16 times. Without any question, he's going to try to get a lead here. If he should be able to, his chances of being safe are 70%. He has a lead chance of 83%. A tremendous opportunity to get a lead here for Miller. He looks like he may be going. He's running with the pitch. Here's the throw. He's in there. Doc Miller stealing second with 2 out. So Wilbur Good has a chance to win the game with a base hit here. Wilbur, however, not a good clutch hitter. And Mathewson will go after him. Mathewson does not want to face Bill Sweeney. Sweeney, the on-deck batter, a tremendous clutch hitter. At any rate, Miller on second, winning run, 2 out, bottom of the 10th. Mathewson brings it to the plate. And a routine ground ball to Merkel. He scoops it up, flips it to Mathewson for out number 3. So we have completed 10 innings, and we are still tied up 5-5. Hub Purdue on the mound for Boston. He is their 3rd pitcher today. Buster Brown started it, got into the 9th, tired. Cliff Curtis came on to retire the Giants in the 9th. They didn't score. He was pinch hit for in the bottom of the 9th. The Rustlers unable to score. That brought Hub Purdue on for the 10th. He retired the Giants without them scoring in the 10th, and we are now in the 11th, and Josh DeVore will lead it off for New York. Purdue is 29 years old and in his rookie season. He's from Bethpage, Tennessee, which is a small town near Gallatin, Tennessee. His nickname, the Gallatin Squash. A little misleading because Hub actually was not from Gallatin, but from the nearby community of Bethpage. But he walks DeVore to lead off the 11th. So Hub is got a +1 hold rating. Graham behind the plate, a +1 arm. You can be sure that John McGraw will give the steal sign to DeVore, who stole 61 bases. I'm going to leave the corners in because Doyle might be bunting. Nobody out, top of the 11th, 5-5 tie. Doyle 1 for 4 today, hitting .400 on the season. 3-1 pitch. Doyle going to try the hit and run. Broken bat, left side. Sweeney is there. Over to first for the out. That'll do it for Doyle, but DeVore advances on the broken bat grounder. The play-by-play said left side, but that ball was actually hit to the right side to Sweeney, who could not get the lead runner, who was off with the pitch. Did get Doyle, but DeVore down to second with 1 out. He is the go-ahead run. He will be held on second base. You do not want DeVore stealing third, which he could easily do, especially if he weren't being held. Purdue going to face Fred Snodgrass here. Fred would love to get a hit or a walk. He has walked his last 2 times up. 1 out, runner on second, top of the 11th, 5-5 ball game. Purdue pitches. Here is a fly ball. Left field, Clark running with the crack of the bat, tracks it down nicely for out number 2. Snodgrass retired on the fly ball to Clark in left, and there are now 2 out. DeVore still on second. I might choose not to hold him. I'll give him third base in order to reduce the chances of a single because of the runner held factor. So DeVore not being held on second. He could very easily steal third. Red Murray at the plate, the giant cleanup hitter, a 265 man in the clutch. Purdue will go after him. Go ahead run DeVore on second. Let's see if he tries to steal third. Doesn't look like he's going to try to. Here's a 2-0 pitch. It's a high pop behind the plate. Graham, Tenney, and Ingerton all converge on the ball. They collide. Oh, Graham makes a one-handed grab of the foul pop. Another great play on a foul pop by Boston catcher Peaches Graham retires the side in the 11th. Boy, what a play by Graham. And we move now to the bottom of the 11th. Murray being retired on the foul out. And the score is still tied up. And Christy Mathewson out on the mound for the bottom of the 11th. I believe he would be tired regardless of how he does at the end of 11. He will face Sweeney, Graham, and Purdue in the bottom of the 11th. Bill Sweeney, 1 for 4 today. An excellent hitter, by far the best Boston has coming up for quite a while until you get around to Doc Miller. Sweeney really badly wants to get on. Here is a 1-2 offering, grounded toward third. Devlin scoops it, the long throw. He is out. Nice play by Art Devlin to get Sweeney leading off the bottom of the 11th. That'll bring up Peaches Graham. Peaches is 1 for 4 with a double. He has made a couple of nice plays on foul pops the last couple of innings behind the plate. Peaches is a 258 real life hitter. What a game this has been today from South End grounds. The shadows starting to lengthen. As you might see, here is a ball juiced to deep center. There goes Snodgrass racing hard. He does. Just out of reach. Graham coasts into second with a double. And now, if you're Boston's manager, which I am, you are in a real dilemma because you've got the winning run on second with one out, but you've got pitcher Hub Purdue scheduled to bat. Purdue, let's pull his homemade pitcher hitting card and see what it looks like, but I'm almost certain, regardless of how bad it may be, he is going to hit for himself, because if he is lifted for a pinch hitter and the Rustlers fail to score, they would have to bring in some horrible relief pitcher like Sam Frock or Bill McTeague or Jiggs Parson in the 12th. Or they could bring in a tired starter. Purdue actually has some hits on his card against righties. He's going to hit here with Peaches Graham, the winning run on second and one out. Regardless of how Purdue does, they will have Josh Clark coming up next, unless Purdue should hit into a double play, which would have to be a line-out maximum type roll, which is pretty rare. All right, here's the pitch. Mathewson still on the mound for the Giants. He's pitched very deep into this game. He's given up 12 hits. Broken bat, left side, actually right side. Doyle is there. Throw to first. That'll do it for Hub Purdue. But Graham does get to third, but with two out. So, Peaches Graham 90 feet from scoring the winning run, but it will take a hit, an error, or a wild pitch or pass ball for Graham to score. Josh Clark is a .233 hitter. He's got some hits on his card, got a bunch of walks on his card. Today against Mathewson, he has grounded out, singled, and struck out again. Crowd on its feet. Clark striding to the plate, under a lot of pressure, up to him to produce a hit. Graham dancing off third, Mathewson ignoring him. Here's the pitch. Base hit! A base hit for Josh Clark. Here comes Graham with a winning run. Boston wins it in 11, 6-5. What a clutch hit by Josh Clark, scoring the winning run from third, and what a great victory for the Boston Rustlers, beating Christy Mathewson and the Giants 6-5 in 11 innings. We will be back with the wrap-up show in just a moment. The totals: Boston 6 runs, 13 hits, and 6 errors. New York 5 runs, 9 hits, and 3 errors. The winner, Hub Purdue, in relief, he is now 2-0. The loser, Christy Mathewson, he is now 2-2. Mathewson gave up 13 hits and 6 runs. 4 of them were earned, 2 unearned. The Boston pitching staff gave up 5 runs. None of them were earned. So despite horrific fielding by the Rustlers, leading to all 5 giant runs being unearned, Boston still able to pull out a 6-5 victory in 11 innings. The time of the game today, 2 hours and 13 minutes. The attendance, 801. Yes, fewer than 1,000 fans turned out for this great matchup that saw the hometown Rustlers defeat the Giants, who will eventually win the National League pennant. But those who did bother to turn out saw a tremendous game. All right, that will do it for today. So long until next time.